Hey everybody, happy 4th of July. I wanted to jump on tonight and share yet another consumption spell work with you. A couple of weeks ago, I shared a cross conditioning cake that you serve to a target or a group of targets, and I got a lot of private messages about not being able to get your target to eat anything you prepare for them. So I am going to teach you tonight a curse that you eat. All right, so let's start off by talking about what this spell is. It's called The Heart of My Enemy, is what the name of the spell is. And there are specific things that you're going to need. The first thing that you're going to need, so you're going to need wafer paper or rice paper. If you're using rice paper, after you do your sigil work and name papers, you're going to burn it down to ash. If you're using wafer paper like I am, you do not need to do anything because we're going to load it as is because it will melt in the heart. The other option you have, if you have an edible ink printer, is to print their photo on edible paper, wafer paper, rice paper. I just ran out of edible ink, which is why I'm just using names tonight, but it's also an option. Photos, of course, are very, very powerful. Other things you're going to need butter or oil for your pan. You're going to need salt and pepper, rosemary, maybe some pan spray, but the most important element here is a organ heart. I use beef hearts. If you have a local butcher you use, you can get one from your butcher. I always recommend making friends with at least one local butcher for these purposes. Otherwise, I also use Cordoba. Cordoba will ship you hearts. It's a little expensive for shipping, but they have high quality organ meat. So heart meat is actually pretty good for you. They're doing studies to see how it lowers cholesterol. But other things, it's a very lean meat. It's very high in protein, lots of B vitamins. I'm trying to think, I made a little cheat sheet. High in iron, mono and polyunsaturated fats. That's why they're studying it to lower cholesterol. It lowers blood sugar too. It lowers blood pressure. So here's the one thing though with organ meat. Some people do have allergies to organ meat, so be aware of that. It's not common, but it exists. And if you eat a lot of it, it actually will increase your cholesterol. So I only do these spells once every few months. If that's all you're doing them, you don't have anything to worry about. So it's important to note that this is a transmutation transference spell. So we are going to load the heart and the pan with our name papers and our sigils. Sigils are going to look different for everybody depending on how you work your craft. If you work with deity, ancestors, transient spirit, if you work from a quantum level, so your sigils are going to be very unique to how you set cross conditions. I can help with that. Just shoot me a message. Name papers, very simple. Photos, very simple. Again, if you're using rice paper, burn that down to ash. Wafer paper will melt. If you have an edible printer, obviously print out a photo. I just ran out of ink. So this is a transmutation transference spell, which is why we need to add these elements. And just another note, you would never consume a cross conditioning work. This is a very special, unique spell in which you have to consume it to activate it. The act of eating it is activating the spell. But other spells that I do put on my channels, like the cross conditioning cake, cross conditioning breads, never eat those. So this is our heart. I just took it out of the package. I rinsed it. Most butchers or places like Cordoba will have it pretty ready to go for you. The aortic valves will be cut off. But this is basically what it looks like. It is quite large. Do you have to eat it all? No, you do not need to eat every single bit of it. You can pound it out if you want to. I don't pound my hearts. I just load them. Now the loading part. Obviously we have our cross conditioning sigils. We have our name paper. Potentially you've printed out a photo, or you have your ash that you're going to mix in there. Very important step here, visualization. Now, as you're holding this, you're holding basically their soul, their happiness, their love. You are making it yours now. And as we cook this steak, we are removing, well, not steak, it's a heart organ, sorry. As we cook this organ, we're basically removing their power, their love, their happiness. We're burning it up so that they can no longer access that. We are transmuting and transferring that to us. Now, the reason we do add a little rosemary in the cooking process is to cleanse the negativity from those aspects, because we don't want to take those on, of course. So you're going to visualize it all becoming yours, entering into you as you're not only cooking it and preparing it, but eating it. Okay, so we are going to heat our butter or oil over low heat. I use a garlic Parmesan basil butter along with a black truffle butter, not just for the taste, but also for the magical properties of transference and transmutation. So we're gonna give this a little bit of time here to kind of melt down. Now, as this process is slowly melting, I did decide to cut my heart in half. You can do that if you want. This is a very large beef heart. I didn't realize quite how large. If you order hearts, you can start with aviary. Aviary hearts are very small. I do like beef hearts though for cross conditioning. If you do need to cut it down, feel free to do that. Just make sure your sigils are intact. Okay, so we're really starting to pick up some steam here. You can see everything's melting really nice. A couple things I'm gonna do here now. A little salt and pepper. Just a little bit. Our next set of sigils, name paper or photo. If you're using, of course, wafer paper, this is gonna melt, and make sure you take off the protective packaging, of course, the little plastic thing. Your cross conditioning seals, again, depending on your practice, these are gonna look different for everybody. If you need help, reach out to me. This is for transmutation and transference. It is a curse. It is to take their power and consume it yourself. Visualize. Visualize that all their power, love, joy, happiness is going to be now lying solely with you. They have no further access to it. Okay, it is time to add our heart. I'm going to turn this down to a little bit of a lower temp, and I am going to cover it. I do have a few videos online where I talk about cross conditions, curses, hexes, why we do them, why they are justified, why they are rational. I would implore you to go back and look at those if you have a problem with cross conditioning. It's very natural, and in essence, sometimes we're actually helping people by setting cross conditions. Sometimes you have to be humbled and humiliated to grow. Now, I don't recommend continually checking on it, but after a few minutes, you know, give it a peek. See how it's doing. You'll notice I don't ever put like exact specific amounts. I mean, really, this is, you can tell when something's cooked. There's a lot of fat on hearts, so be aware of that. I cut the fat off, but we're doing pretty good. I'd say we're about 5 minutes in. All right, so I've had it on a low simmer for about 10 minutes, and it is coming together quite well. Our wafer paper is melting nicely. Keep that inside there. You may see some, I call these flappy flaps. We're gonna cut those off. Don't worry, you don't have to eat those. So furthermore, just about cross conditioning, because I get messages every time about it being a horrible practice. Cross conditioning has been around since the beginning of time. The oldest grimoires from 13th, 14th centuries talk about it. And it is just. And there are bad people out there. And there is nothing wrong with calling upon the universe and all the powers in it to pay attention to this person. Look at what they're doing. Let's activate some karmic debt. Let's get them to change whatever is hurting other people, okay? And by transmuting and transferring power, that is one way to do that. And why shouldn't you? If you've been wronged, you know, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That's Old Testament, people. All right, let's take a look. I kicked it up to medium. Some people will eat this, you know, I would say medium well. I'm more of a medium person. We can see that, we can see that our sigil work has melted. We're in a good spot there. Obviously, continue your visualizations, but I think a couple more minutes here, and she's ready to be cut. Okay, so we are ready to slice and dice here. I like to strip mine into small strips. Some people make potatoes and side dishes to go with this particular course. Feel free to do that if you want. All right, guys, so mine came out a little bit more on the less medium rare, more rare, but that's okay because I have consumed organ meat before. If you have not consumed organ meat, make sure it's at least medium rare. But I'm gonna only eat about 3 chunks of this. That's all that really, I would say 3 chunks. You don't have to eat the whole thing. I would not save it for later. Throw away whatever you're not eating because there's risk of other people eating it and you don't want transmutation confusion. But that is it, you guys. Any questions, hit me up.